Hello, hello, hello. Let me actually move my computer a little ways out of the way. It's hiding the front of my mat. My name is Karen. Welcome to Yoga Intermissions. We are together for 50 minutes in this session. We're going to focus on expunging bad habits in lunges. So we'll be doing knee down lunge, also called Anjaneyasana, runner's lunge, and high lunge, also known as crescent warrior. So if any of those don't work for you, you can do a different lunge. You can always put your knee down. You can always keep your knee up. And if warriors are not your thing, or you have physical limitations for warriors, you can not do the crescent warrior, but do something else. You might notice that I have several props today. These two are blocks. I highly recommend props for your hands in this session. It can be pillows, it could be bed pillows, it could be cushions, it could be food containers with tops on them, or blocks if you have them. I am also today propping up with sneakers, pulled a muscle in my foot, so I want to be safe. Safety first. So let's start with finding our comfortable seat. I'm going to go ahead and use my blocks starting now. If you are using the Soundscape from Spotify, feel free also to start that now. The key to today's practice will be drawing in your core, lengthening your spine, lifting your heart. I say key, there are several keys. And in lunges, the back leg, whether the knee is down or not, squeezing or activating the glutes and the hamstrings on that side. Probably too much to remember at this time, but I will obviously cue you throughout. So finding your comfortable seat with that long spine, with that heart lifted, with the belly drawing in and up. Maybe the hands are in your lap. The chin is very slightly tucked. The back of the head pressing backward, almost as if you were placing it against the headrest of your car. If hands in lap do not work for you, maybe they don't give you enough space left and right, you can always place the palms upward with the hands on your knees, or if that's not comfortable, the palms downward. We're going to notice the breath first without changing it, although, as they say, once you're aware, you're probably changing. You've changed it just by being aware of it, but just notice it. We'll take an inventory of the body, starting with the toes, maybe the right toes. We'll work our way up, checking in with the right foot, noticing if we're gripping or holding tension or emotion there, and maybe send an extra exhale into that space to release it. The calf, often where in this posture I am holding on, so maybe you see if you can loosen the calf. The knee, not just the kneecap, but all the way inside and behind the knee. What do you notice there? The quad and the hamstrings on the right side, so your thigh. The hip on the right. Letting your breath fill it with calm. Low belly. Rib cage. Right side of the chest. At the top of the shoulder. The top of the arm. Elbow. The forearm. Palm and the back of the hand. Thumb. Fingers. We'll start with the fingers on the left hand. Connecting the breath there. The thumb, palm and back of the hand. Forearm. upper arm, the triceps and biceps, top of the shoulder, left side of the chest, rib cage, lower belly. Breathe into the left hip crease, the thigh, the quad, the hamstrings, all the way around and inside the knee, calf, the foot, and all the toes of the left foot. Without any judgment, sort of inventorying wherever things felt a little bit tight, a little bit of tension, a little bit of emotion. Being okay with that. That's what the practice helps us with. Big breath into the nose and out the mouth. First two fingers of your right hand place between and above your eyebrows. Rest your thumb on your right nostril and your ring finger on your left. Block your right. Breathe in left. Block left. Breathe out right. Pause at the bottom. Inhale right. Block right. Breathe out left. Another pause at the bottom for an inhale on the left. Block left. Exhale right. And inhale through the right. Block it. Open the left, breathe out. Inhale left. Stop. Block left, really breathe out right. And our last bit of pranayama, breathe in right. Block it. Exhale left. Split second at the bottom, breathe in left. Block left open, right. Breathe out. Both hands return to the lap, inhale. And out through the nose. Natural breath. And consider here what brought you to your mat, or an intention, or maybe something that you formulate out of your body scan or your breath work. Press the palms of your hands together at your heart. We'll celebrate the practice that brings us together, surround ourselves with our intentions, ready ourselves for the more active part of the practice, using the chant of Om. It is not required to actually chant. You can always just imagine the syllables of Om coming out on your breath rather than soundfully. I know that's not a word. We'll breathe all the air from the lungs. Inhale deeply. Move into child's pose to start. You can remove your blocks and place them to the left and right of your mat or your pillows or whatever props you might be using. Again, those are not requisite, just would be helpful. If you happen to be sitting on something, move that out of the way. Face down, knees nice and wide, big toes touch, forehead connects with something. If you prefer Balasana 1, the narrow kneed version, for whatever reason or no reason, you can go ahead and find that. Right now I'm going to work open up my external hips a bit with the knees wide. And let the breath journey up and down the spine and spread your low back left and right. Softening in the shoulders, under the arms. Maybe you even encourage the arms and the hands to slide forward a little bit more. Sitting bone energy working toward your heels, although not a problem if they don't reach. We're going to come up to all fours, tabletop, and allow the body to guide some movement. Maybe that is a hula hoop sort of motion, or a cat-cow, or something else. Maybe it's a rolling cat-cow. A little stretch, a little arch, a little rounding. And into a neutral spine. Walk the hands back just a couple of inches. So your sitting bones are working a little bit more, not much, but a little more toward your heels. And then place the backs of the hands onto the earth, the fingers pointing toward your knees. You're going to see if you can roll a little toward the wrists on the backs of the hands, opening up the outer wrists. For some of us, this is a little questionable in terms of how secure we can be, so we don't put too much weight in there. If you need more stretch or you have the space to do it, you can curl your fingers in, and you might start to feel that stretch in your thumbs as well. And we'll place the palms of the hands back on the mat and point the fingers left and right, or maybe even more toward your knees. You don't want the thumbs too wide. We're now opening up the inner wrist. So take your time again to press the thumb pads at the bottom of the thumbs into the earth, and maybe rock a little forward and backward. I can see my hands are not evenly dispersed. And then the fingers point forward, the wrists come over. The shoulders come over the wrists, or the wrists under the shoulders. And we take a cat and cow shape. For the cow, the belly drops, the breath comes in, the gaze and the hips lift. And for the cat, we round the spine, press the ground away, drop the head. We'll open up the space between the shoulder blades. Coming back to a neutral spine, we're going to start a sort of one piece at a time feeling of a lunge. So we're going to press the right leg long behind with the ball of the foot on the mat. I'm going to rock in and out, opening up the calf, the Achilles heel, the space between the toes, and where the toes meet the foot. Pause. Squeeze the glutes and squeeze the hamstrings and feel what that feels like. Now draw the belly in and up. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. This is in part what the back legs should start to feel like in a lunge if you have your knee off the ground. The kneecap draws toward the quad. We're going to float that right leg off the mat. Again, squeezing the glutes and the hamstrings, draw the knee to the nose then. Inhale, stretch out. Knee comes toward the right elbow. Maybe it taps above it, maybe it does not. Inhale, stretch out. And one more time, knee to the nose. And then we're going to support a quad stretch. Keeping the knee bent, we press the foot toward the sky, squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings, and pump that back leg up and down. And then we'll find an opening along the right glutes, stretching the right leg long behind. We sweep that leg above the left calf and draw the shoelace side of the right foot to the ground outside your mat. You can probably see better because I have sneakers on today how that is working. We then glide the front of the right hip toward the left heel. So your right foot is moving away from you. You can draw to your forearms. I had said we're opening up the right glutes. I meant the left. So you should feel this on the left thigh and the left glutes. If you're not feeling much or would like a little bit more, then tuck the right toes under to float the right knee off the mat. We draw back to our hands, lifting the right leg. Bring the knee to the nose again. Inhale, extend the leg, and drop the knee. We're going to take a little interstitial here, keeping the shoelace sides of the feet on the ground. We're going to kneel upward. I like to call it standing on our knees. So that we can situate what it feels like to have your knee down in a knee down lunge. The knees should be squared up to the front of your mat and sort of aligned with your front bony hips here. We're gonna, in this instance, because both knees are down, we're gonna tuck the tailbone and squeeze both sets of glutes and both sets of hamstrings. It's, what is it, 3 glutes and 4 hamstrings for each side. Just feel what that feels like. And now, oftentimes when we're in a low lunge, we round our spine around our thigh. Runner's lunge, we round our spine so that we're sort of hugging the thigh. And what we really want is this tucking in of the belly, drawing up of the navel, dropping back of the shoulders, and a lifting of the heart. We're going to come back to all fours. Draw the left leg long so the ball of the foot is on the mat, and take your rocking motion. That feels so good, especially in the top of the foot and the toes that don't often get this kind of stretch. A pause with the shoulders over the hips to float the left leg. Squeeze the left glutes and the left hamstrings. Draw knee to nose. Take your time. Round your spine. Press the ground away. Inhale, extend. Knee draws toward the left elbow. Maybe taps, maybe does not. Inhale, extend. Knee to nose once again. Breath out, and we bend that knee like we're stepping on the sky, drawing the left knee up and down as much as you can to open up the front of the left hip. For me, that's not very far, but for others, you might be stretchier right now. We're going to extend that leg again. Sweep the shin above the right calf so the top of the left foot comes to the earth, to the outside of the mat. Glide backward so that the left hip, front of the hip, is coming toward the right heel. I'm a little too close to the wall, so I'm going to move. Opening up the right glutes, the IT band maybe a little bit on the right side. If you need more of a challenge, the left toes tuck under to float the left knee off the earth. That also starts to open up the psoas, or the hip flexor, on the front of the left hip. Rise back to your 3-legged dog. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings, knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen out. And the knee returns to the mat. The hands walk forward a couple inches, or knees walk back, your choice. Can knees walk? Tuck your toes under. Make sure the fingers are nice and wide, but the thumbs not too wide. Toes tuck, downward dog. Pedaling in and out of your dog to your heart's content for a few breaths. Getting some of those crackles out of the ankles and the knees, maybe even the feet. Inhale, rise to the tiptoes. Exhale, bend your knees. Make your way all the way to your hands for a forward fold. That could be a bind of a rag doll, as an example. Double checking that the feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Hard to do when you're in sneakers. Knees can be soft. Head heavy. Let's keep our rag doll. If you don't have a rag doll, take one. So the hands are cupping or at least touching your opposite elbows. Maintain that shape and leave the elbows hanging to start as you start to rise to standing. Once the shoulders stack over the hips, and we're taking our time here, really root down to rise. Elbows will start to lift. And then the forearms come over the head, so you're in sort of a box shape. Maybe a little bit less. See if the chin can lift a tiny bit. We'll take a tilt over to the right. That feels so nice as the left ribs start to spread and we draw into the outer edge of the left foot. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, tilt opposite side. Rise up, tilt to the right again, and then spread the arms so the right hand comes down by your side. Left arm reaches up toward the sky. Opening up that left shoulder. And then we switch sides, left hand down, right arm high, tilting over to the left. Both arms reach. Cactus shape arms. We're going to take a chair pose. Yes, it's early in class. We want to start to feel that energy from the tailbone downward, the belly in and up, and the heart lifting. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Interlace your fingers behind you or hook them, your choice. See if you can rise up to the balls of your feet. Sink down a little bit to deepen your chair and open up the heart a little bit more as the heels draw down. Big breath in. We take a fold over our legs. You might keep your knees really soft. Head hangs loosely. Exhale, hands release, halfway lift. Long, flat spine, forward fold. Sun rises, root to rise, feet into the ground. We're lifting up, we're opening up like a fern, reaching for the sky, arms high. Exhale, forward fold again. Uttanasana. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, long spine, hands in your shins. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to take a couple more of these as we warm up. Rise to standing. Sweep the arms up and out. Breathe out again, forward fold. Hands come through the heart. Halfway lift. And a fold. Followed by rising to standing like a slinky, unwinding, unraveling. Arms float like feathers upward. One more time, forward fold. Halfway lift. And a fold. Rise up to standing. This time, left arm forward, right arm back, a little twist, east-west pose. Check in with your hips. See if you can maintain a forward orientation of the pelvis so that you're not twisting the hips, but rather rotating the navel around the spine like it's orbiting it. Find purchase in the outer edges of your feet, like a comic strip or what do they call them? Graphic novels with that. Or even stained glass, that black, thick outlining your feet. Inhale, come forward, palms face one another. Lock the arms back into the shoulders. Exhale, twist to the other side. Maybe a little but a smile comes to your face. Or maybe you bring something into your mind or your eyes land with focus on something of beauty. Draw forward, arms lift up. This time we're going to take a sort of sweeping chair back up to standing. So on a breath out, we move to this sort of forward chair with the arms behind. On a breath in, we rise up. We're going to take that again. Exhale, sweep down and back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, inhale up. Exhale, inhale up. This time we're going to stay in that ski pose. Exhale. So not exactly a chair because we are leaning forward. We start to squeeze the shoulders together, widen the fingers, draw the belly in and up and the tailbone down. And again, we're going to lift to the balls of the feet if possible. Squeeze the thighs toward each other, though they're not touching. And then slowly sink a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Beautiful Samasthihi. We move into mountain pose, hands drop by your sides. Karen, you might say, we haven't lunged yet. No, we're working our little warm-up before we start our lunges. Our lunges need a little bit of heat started up before we take them into account today, because the high lunge is actually our peak pose, which for you could be your knee down lunge or your runner's lunge. But in the meantime, feel the inner arches of the feet lifting away from the mat. That energy draws upward. For me, it creates a little rocking forward and backward. For you, it might be a rocking left to right, or maybe there's no movement, but don't be afraid to shift a little bit, to adjust, or to allow movement to take place, even if it feels like there's no purpose. Not distraction, but an outcropping of the energy drawing from the earth up the inseams to the hips, lengthening the belly up to the shoulders, up to the crown of the head. Arm sweep out and up, breath in. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to go move through a vinyasa. It might be the only one. We'll see. Halfway lift. And a forward fold, a step back to your high plank. You can always drop your knees. I like to play around a little bit with plank, so you might play around a little bit with plank. We're going to lower all the way down to the ground, nose, chin, chest if possible. And a little baby cobra. Heart forward and up, navel lifting away, shoulders away from the ears. Breathe in, exhale down to the mat. I'm going to move through a tabletop, long tabletop, back into downward dog. 3 beautiful breaths in and out here in your downward facing dog. A lift back to the tiptoes with a bend in the knees to make your way back to the front of your mat. We're taking our lunges from the front of the mat today. And your forward fold. Lift halfway up. Forward fold, we'll start with a runner's lunge. As we often do, the left foot glides to the back of the mat. Now, for some of us, we're not very bold in the glide. So bring your hands back to frame your right foot. And then step that left foot back even farther. Check that your right foot is parallel to the front, to the right side of the mat. And really stretch that left leg long, powering up the kneecap toward the quad, the glutes, and the hamstrings. Now, if you're like me, reaching the ground with your fingertips is not the easiest thing. And the belly and the spine might start to round over that right thigh. So I take my blocks, put my fingertips down, point them forward, and then work to lengthen the spine, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, and allowing the belly energy to feel like it's lifting from the thigh. This is your runner's lunge. Energy completely working distribution in the front foot, every edge of the foot, not grasping from the toes, and the left heel reaching behind. So the left knee is not dropping down in a bend, but really drawing back. You might start to feel the quad open up and the psoas. We're going to take a twist here. Left hand down, right arm high, or the heel of the right hand comes to the low back, or a half bind. Checking back in, you're working with the big toe mound of the right foot. And then the right hand comes down. We're going to move into our knee down lunge. Drop the back knee, untuck your toes. Place your hands on your right thigh to allow you to lift up. Now, for me, my back knee is a little squidgy. So I'm going to move my leg back a little bit so I'm not all the way on the kneecap. Right knee over the right ankle. And what is this posture about? Well, it does two things. It opens up the psoas, or the hip flexor, on the front of the left hip. I'm going to fold over my mat for my kneecap. And it's a back bend. Some people find that the back bend with the arms over the head is not ideal for them. Sometimes that doesn't feel great in the shoulders or the spine. If need be, for stability, you can move the right foot out to the right and tip your blocks, if you have them, up onto their onto their short side, so they're taller. But if you're rounding a little into the shoulders, you might tuck the blocks back. You might even draw the hands by the sides with the palms facing forward, giving yourself a little bit more of an opening across the chest. So now check in with the belly. If the belly is just sort of dropping down or forward, use the glutes and a tucking of the tailbone and the belly, the core energy, to lift the navel up and tuck the tailbone down. Automatically, that activated my hamstrings and my glutes, but you can do it the other way too. Activate the hamstrings and the glutes on the left side, which will help you tuck your tailbone. That is all about safety in your low spine. So opening up the psoas right here on the front of the hip, opening up the heart and being safe in the low back. And then if you like, you can do whatever else with your arms. Maybe that's a cactus shape. Or maybe you feel you're feeling really good and you lift the arms overhead, finding a little bit of extra space to squeeze the shoulder blades and lift the heart. So that's 2 of our 3 lunges so far. But we're going to work on a little more psoas opening before we go to the other side. After which we will add the standing warrior, the crescent. We're going to bring the hands to cup the right hip. We're going to turn the head to the right and lower the chin. A little bit of a twist to open farther the psoas on the left. And if you like, maybe there's a little scoot forward of the front foot to sink deeper into your right hip crease. Press the heel of the front foot into the earth and the shoelace side of the back foot. If you like to go a little deeper with this, you can drop the right hand behind your left glutes or thigh and not fall over. Lost my balance a little bit, and lift the left arm nice and high. That might allow you to open up the heart a little bit more and add a little bit of shoulder opening, but it certainly contributes to the psoas, the hip flexor opening. To even things out, we're going to come straight back up to Anjaneyasana and then take a half split. You might use your blocks for that. The right leg extends. The heart, like in a forward fold or your runner's lunge, is reaching forward. as you hinge at your hips. Toes draw toward the shoulders or the torso. Just working a little stretch on the hamstrings before we move to the other side. And maybe a little press of the ball of the foot down. It's a little rocking forward and back, sort of, with the right foot. All right, looking at the time, we need to move to the other side. So we're going to plant the sole of the right foot onto the mat, tuck the back toes under, and step forward to our forward fold at the front of the mat. My mat is slipping because I folded it over. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Let's get tall, rooting to rise. And a breath out for your fold once again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant. I'm going to grab my blocks because we're moving directly into a runner's lunge with the right leg stretched to the back of the mat. As far as you can get it. I'm going to make sure my mat's folded over. And again, we are here working into all the edges of the front foot with the knee over the ankle. A long back leg that's as straight as you can make it by activating the glutes and the hamstrings and drawing the kneecap toward the right quad. Right hand down, left arm high. You're working for a nice long spine. More of a flat back with a twist than you are an arched back. Building strength, building stamina. Left hand down, right knee down to the mat. Untuck your right toes. Make sure that as you move your right hip over your right knee, your left knee is over your left ankle. Mine's a little bit ahead, so I'm going to move my knee forward. We're working on Anjaneyasana here. Knee down lunge or low lunge. Foot is parallel to the left edge of your mat. And we lift up, maybe blocks, maybe not. Shoulders stack over the hips. And we might find, as my body has done, a little roundedness in the shoulders. So I'm going to move my blocks back first. Press my fingertips into them. Lower the hands to the sides to start. Squeeze the right glutes, the right hamstrings, and press the shoelace side of that foot. That's out the back knee down leg into the earth. If you're wobbly, a movement to the left of the front foot can be helpful. So here, hands by the sides, palms forward. Tuck the tailbone, draw the belly in up, lift the heart. Squeeze the shoulder blades into one another as if they're falling in love. When you start to find your heart opener, even if you are already feeling your psoas opener on the right. And maybe we check in with another arm shape, cactus. That might help to open up the heart a little bit more, but sometimes we let the belly fall out, so we need to draw that back in. And the arms can lift overhead, sinking deeper into the front knee, feeling the psoas open, feeling the heart, chest, and shoulders open. We're going to take our little twist. Hands will clasp or not to cup the left hip, and the chin turns to the left and drops down. Maybe sink a little deeper into that front knee. Left hand drops behind your right glutes or your right thigh, and the right arm floats high. This time I'm super focused, my drishti, so I'm not falling over and finding a greater opening in my shoulder, my psoas, and my chest. I'm going to rise back up to facing forward and arms overhead and take our half split. Blocks are awesome for the half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. We have one more sequence on each side to feel our crescent warrior or our high lunge, which again, you are welcome to stay in a runner's or knee down. We're going to plant the left foot, tuck the back toes under, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Breathe out for a fold. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale for a forward fold. We're going to do 2 lunges on each side. Halfway lift and a fold. We're going to move into runner's lunge with the left foot way behind us as far as you can. I'm going to undo my mat fold here. You can stay in your runner's lunge as is with hands on the ground or hands on the block and really working your left glutes, your left kneecap, and your left hamstrings. You can also just hover over the thigh with the hands by your sides. This way you got to activate your right hamstrings a lot. And we're going to rise up, if that feels all right for you, into the crescent warrior. Same bottom half orientation as your runner's lunge. Same top body orientation as your knee down lunge. So we're combining the two, working into a back bend, which my shoulders are being grumpy about, so I'm dropping my hands by my sides. If you're remaining in your runner's lunge, feel free to take a twist again, but pay attention to working the belly, the shoulders, the heart, the left kneecap, the left hamstrings, and the left glutes. 3, 2, hands down, step up, forward fold, front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, and we float back to standing for our last standing shenanigans. Exhale, let's take that sweep into that chair with the arms behind. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, fold over your legs. Another runner's lunge with the right foot way to the back of the mat. Set up your runner's lunge, blocks or pillows if you need them. Stance right to left, powering up the back leg, hover over your left knee. This allows you to draw the shoulders away from the ears. Check in with your right glutes and hamstrings. Mine were not powered up. They are now, and then a lift all the way to crescent warrior high lunge. For me, I need to bend my back knee a little bit more for the psoas tightness. Finding our stance with our open heart, I'm going to bring my arms into cactus for 5. Belly strong 4. Heart lifting 3, 2, and 1. Back knee draws to the mat. Front knee meets it. We're going to come into Anatasana, inchworm / puppy dog pose. Keeping the hips right over the knees. The hands walk forward until the forehead, chin, or chest connects with the earth. Shoulders can sometimes start to yell at you here, so you might bend the elbows outward, left and right, and let the thumbs touch or the fingertips touch. And we breathe for 3. Actually, that's 5. Maybe coming back to that thing of beauty, that color, spot of color, or something in your room or in your mind. And we move into child's pose, tucking the tailbone, drawing the belly in. If your knees are together for child's 1, Balasana 1, the top of your head comes to the earth rather than the forehead coming to the earth. And if possible, the hands sweep behind you so they're resting on or next to your outer shins or calves or ankles or feet. And you drop the shoulders. This is the one place where rounded shoulders are encouraged for relaxation. 5, 4, hands plant under your shoulders. Find your way to a seat, allowing yourself to situate at the center of the mat with the sitting bones. Feet are on the earth, knees are bent. Palms come to your kneecaps and we sit up really tall, leading with the heart, dropping the shoulders, drawing the belly in. Arms float in front. Yes, we're doing a little core work. The arms lock back into the shoulder sockets. Breathe in. Exhale, twist to the right. Keep the hands, shoulders distance. Inhale through center. Use the belly. Use the obliques. Exhale, twist to the other side. Do not work into the low back. Inhale, center. Lift the heart. Exhale, come partway down. Inhale. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale slowly all the way down to the earth. A full body stretch, legs extend, arms are over the head, thumbs hook, and we spread the fingers like peacock tail feathers, reaching toes forward, fingers back. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Let everything go. Hands by your sides. Soles of the feet come back to the earth. We lift the hips away from the earth and shift them over to the right to drop the knees to the left. Gaze turns opposite your knees, arms plop outward in a capital T. And if you like, the bottom foot, the left foot, you can take above the right or outside the right knee for a little extra twist. The front hip moving toward the front of your mat, or the top hip, which would be your right. Unhook your bind if you have one. Shift the entire spine back to the mat, knees point to the sky. And then move the hips way over to the left so you can take your twist to the other side. Taking your time to situate the parts of the body in a way that is safe and makes sense for you. So if it hurts, you're going to back off. You're going to change. Shoulder blades aiming for the earth. And here we breathe for 3. Unhook your right foot. Bring the knees back toward the sky. Shift your spine so it's all the way on the mat and as straight top to bottom as it would typically be. The knees gather into the chest and we're squeezing the knees tight toward each other as well, working to compress the belly with the thighs. And we'll take some circles with the knees in a single direction, if that suits. If you'd like to take opposite directions, that's fine. Massaging out the spine and then the other way. And anything else your body guides you to, take it here. That might be legs up the wall, a happy baby, something else. I'm going to take virtual legs up the wall. Finding the inversion to reverse the blood flow and begin to calm the body from its activity. A loosening of whatever situation you got going on in your shoulders and shoulder blades. And then we work our way into our final resting posture, whatever that's going to be for you. Space between your feet where possible, palms facing up also where possible. Feet flopped out if you're in the traditional posture. And wherever you are, giant breath in through the soles of the feet to the top of the head and all the way back out again. Taking a few quiet moments with no effort in the body, no effort in the mind, no effort in the breath, just being. You are a human being. Return your awareness to the breath first. Deepen it. And allow the breath to bring awareness back to the body. A reawakening occurs with movement returning. Knees can bend one at a time. And your body becomes ready to move on to one side. On your side, knees draw in, maybe the hands stack under your head, and you come back to what brought you here today, or maybe to your intention. As if you could float above your body and look at it. Maybe that is the thing of beauty that brings a smile to your face. When you're ready, your top hand can allow you the purchase to rise back to your seat, where we bring our hands to our hearts and end the practice with Om. Thumb knuckles move right to the center forehead to honor one another and the practice that brings us together and brings us to kindness. Namaste. Thank you for sticking with me in our little overtime of 5 minutes. I hope you enjoyed your practice and that you feel great and that we have the opportunity to practice again together. I'm Karen, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios, saltandsandstudios.com. In Vermont, love to have you practice live with us. We're doing outdoors for as long as we can until it's too cold. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Ciao.